Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the place where we take the complexity of human experience and turn it into clear, targeted knowledge that you can use immediately.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into something truly universal and, let's be honest, deeply confusing. Mutual attraction.
That feeling, that incredible heart-stopping feeling.
Yeah, that spark, that magnetic chemistry that just hits you. And you're instantly left wondering, is this just me or do they feel this exact same pull?
That is the core mission today. We are decoding the subtle, often secret language that confirms if that undeniable feeling you have for someone is actually shared.
Mm-hmm.
Because feeling a spark is, relatively easy. That's the solo experience. But figuring out if you're both standing in the same electrical field, getting shocked by the same current,
That's the hard part.
that is the hard part.
Exactly. And when you talk about this kind of chemistry, I think we need to broaden the definition beyond just, surface-level physical attraction.
Right. It's more than just they're cute.
So much more. We're discussing a phenomenon that is an irresistible, invisible, mutual bond. It's this powerful resonance where two people feel fundamentally on the same wavelength.
A deep synergy.
A deep synergy, yeah, where their humor, their energy, their understanding of the world just seem to effortlessly align.
It's the kind of connection where time stops bending and starts flying. You meet someone for coffee, and the next thing you know, the cafe is closing, and you've been talking for 3 hours.
I felt like 30 minutes.
It felt like 30 minutes. That
Huh.
time warp sensation is a huge indicator that something beyond the ordinary is happening between you.
And that profound, invisible pull is precisely why we have to become fluent in the language of nonverbal communication.
Because it's the honest language.
It's the most honest language we have. Unlike words, which people can consciously craft, edit, and choose, nonverbal behaviors are so much harder to fake.
Things like how they look at you or how close they stand.
Exactly. Eye movement, physical proximity, spontaneous gestures. They're transmitted unintentionally. They offer us an unmasked, much truer window into whether that genuine interest is truly mutual.
Especially in those nerve-wracking early stages of a connection.
That's when it matters most.
Okay, let's unpack this language. Let's start at the root. The biological and psychological foundations. Before we even exchange a second glance, what precisely is happening inside our bodies when that spark ignites?
Yeah, let's get into the neurochemical symphony that attraction triggers.
A symphony, I like that.
It truly is. It's a sudden, powerful surge. When we experience intense positive attraction, the brain initiates a full-scale neurochemical fireworks show.
A fireworks show inside our heads?
Pretty much. It involves this potent cocktail of chemicals, and the foundational player here is dopamine.
The pleasure chemical.
The brain's primary reward chemical, yes. Its release fuels these intense feelings of pleasure, euphoria, and attachment.
So, if someone's presence makes us feel intensely giddy or happy, our brain is literally associating their existence with a powerful, repeatable dopamine hit.
That's it.
That sounds dangerously close to addiction.
In many ways, that's what early attraction is designed to be, a healthy, temporary obsession. We become psychologically conditioned to link happiness and pleasure directly to that specific person.
It's like our brain is saying, hey, that person, they're good. Go get more of that.
Exactly.
Ugh.
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just the steady release of dopamine that drives attraction. It's the variability of the reward.
What do you mean by variability?
Intermittent reinforcement. It's the cycle of uncertainty, excitement, and then reward. That can actually make the attraction feel even more intense and, yes, more obsessive in those early stages.
You mean the little push-pull, the waiting for a text message, the sudden, unexpected compliment? That feeling of not quite knowing where you stand, but being rewarded with immense pleasure when you do connect.
That's precisely it. That variability makes us want the connection even more.
Why does our brain respond so strongly to that?
Well, the brain seeks that powerful reward, and if it's delivered somewhat inconsistently, it keeps us highly engaged and focused on the source of that reward.
So we're kind of on high alert for the next hit.
You are. It creates this intense desire to constantly seek them out, which is why frequent reciprocal communication becomes such a defining early sign of mutual interest. The brain wants to keep pursuing that reward state.
But attraction needs to move past just euphoria and that chemical pursuit to be meaningful, right? It has to involve bonding.
It absolutely has to. And that brings us to the famous bonding hormone, oxytocin.
The cuddle hormone.
That's the one. Oxytocin is absolutely critical. It's called that because it fosters trust, emotional warmth, and reinforces closeness. unlike dopamine, which is all about the thrill of the chase.
Oxytocin is about security and connection.
Exactly. It's the we're safe together hormone.
And how does oxytocin production intersect with the nonverbal cues we're trying to decode? Where's the link?
This is where we see a direct physical link between behavior and biology. Physical contact, even the most subtle or lingering touches, triggers the measurable release of oxytocin.
So like that gentle brush on the arm that lasts a second too long.
That's a perfect example. Or the prolonged handshake, or that extended hug when saying goodbye. These are not merely expressions of closeness. They are powerful chemical mechanisms.
Wow. So the body is essentially whispering, I trust you and feel connected through a shot of hormones every time we make contact.
It's a literal biological reinforcement of the bond.
It's almost like our bodies are trying to glue us together.
In a way, yes. And this is why, when attraction is mutual, those touches feel natural and desired, rather than awkward or unwelcome. They cement the relationship, creating that sticky feeling of connection you can't quite shake off.
That explains the chemical side, but there's another critical piece of the puzzle. It explains that feeling of intuitive, effortless understanding we sometimes have with someone we're strongly attracted to.
You're talking about the brain's engine for empathy.
Exactly. Mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons are one of the most remarkable discoveries in neuroscience, I think. They are these specialized nerve cells that activate both when we perform an action and when we merely observe someone else performing that same action.
Okay, let me just clarify for everyone listening. If I smile genuinely, my mirror neurons fire. But if I watch you smile genuinely, the same neurons fire in my brain.
That's the core concept. It's called neural resonance.
Almost as if I were experiencing the emotion myself.
Yes, and this mechanism is critical because it bypasses cognitive processing. It allows for a spontaneous and intuitive understanding of others' emotions, intentions, and experiences.
So that's why when you see someone trip, you instinctively kind of flinch or tense up.
Or when your friend starts laughing, you feel compelled to join them. You're sensing their joy immediately without even thinking about why.
This shared emotional and behavioral resonance must powerfully promote sympathy and closeness, right? It makes the other person instantly appealing.
It does. It signals a shared reality. And this is why mirroring behavior is such a massive signal of rapport and mutual attraction.
So if you notice someone subconsciously adopting your posture, you lean forward, they lean forward.
You rest your hand on the table. They do too.
Go.
Their mirror neurons are firing, telling them and subtly telling you, we are in sync. We are on the same page.
But wait a minute. I've heard about this in, sales training. If someone is consciously trying to build rapport in a professional setting, they might intentionally mimic my behavior.
That's an important caveat.
How do we distinguish genuine subconscious mirroring, which signals attraction, from just simple social mimicry?
That's a great question. Intentional professional mirroring is usually quite smooth and often focuses on broad gestures. It can feel a little calculated.
A bit too perfect.
Right. But genuine, deep, attraction-based mirroring is spontaneous, it happens quickly, and it often involves subtle micro-behaviors. Things like matching the rhythm of breathing, the speed of head tilts, or the use of small, nervous hand movements.
Things you wouldn't even think to copy.
Exactly. Because it's subconscious, it carries the weight of authenticity. It reinforces attraction by making us feel profoundly seen and validated at a really fundamental level.
That ability to recognize and share emotions creates a powerful feeling of connection, which, as you said, makes the person highly appealing. Okay, so moving from the purely physiological response to the cognitive landscape, the beginning stage of attraction, that crush phase, it comes with some serious mental editing, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Our cognitive biases go into overdrive. We experience what researchers call idealization or perception bias.
We put on the rose-colored glasses.
Big time. In this crush phase, our mind naturally elevates the person we admire, almost putting them under a spotlight that only illuminates their best features. We tend to focus exclusively on their perceived positive traits, and we often overlook, minimize, or just ignore their flaws entirely.
So the brain essentially becomes a very biased public relations agent for the object of our affection.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Why does our brain do this to us?
It's rooted in evolutionary programming. This positive illusion serves a function in mate selection. It helps solidify the initial bond and commitment, giving the relationship enough momentum to get past early hurdles.
So it's a feature, not a bug.
It's a feature, at least initially. Studies even suggest that because of this bias, we can perceive the person we are attracted to as up to 20% more attractive than they are objectively rated by others.
20%. That's a powerful mental filter.
It is. We literally put them on a pedestal, which can make it incredibly difficult to distinguish between a true, sustainable connection and simple wishful thinking based on a manufactured fantasy.
That's the danger right there.
Exactly. And this initial euphoric, intense phase fueled by that potent neurochemical cocktail we discussed is temporary.
It can't last forever.
It can't. If that early momentum isn't cultivated into a deeper, more sustainable relationship built on reality and shared values, that intense, dazzling crush feeling tends to dissipate.
And what's the typical shelf life of that initial neurochemical blast? How long are we talking?
Research consistently points to a window of about 4 months,
4 months, that's it.
roughly. That initial, unsustainable level of emotional and chemical intensity must eventually stabilize into a deeper, less manic, companionate love, or it will simply dissipate. And then people are left wondering, where did the spark go?
The work of attraction is turning the spark into a sustainable flame.
Beautifully said.
4 months. That's a good grounding metric to keep in mind. Okay, so we understand the biology and the psychology of the initial pull. Now, how do we start decoding the visible, silent language that confirms this attraction is shared?
Let's jump into the most direct communication tool we possess, the eyes, or what researchers call oculesics.
The eyes.
The eyes are, without question, the most powerful communicators. They are capable of sending both intentional and unintentional messages that signal deep interest.
Okay, so the foundational sign is sustained eye contact. What does a consistent, prolonged gaze really communicate, and how is it different from just, normal conversation?
It's a huge difference. Prolonged and consistent eye contact is a foundational, nonverbal sign of deep interest, attention, and intent. It's not the casual back-and-forth gaze you use when you're talking about the weather.
Right.
When two people engage in mutual, sustained gaze, it functions as a strong approach signal. It's an invitation for intimacy and further interaction.
It's like a green light.
It's a huge green light. It is a quiet, unambiguous acknowledgement that the other person is currently the most fascinating thing in their visual field, and they're confident enough to show it.
I've heard about the difference between a professional gaze and an intimate gaze. Can you elaborate on that? Because I feel like that distinction is key for anyone listening.
Absolutely. When communicating professionally, we typically use what's called a triangular gaze. You're focusing on the area between the eyes and the mouth.
Keeping it business-like.
Right. It's respectful. It keeps the interaction on a rational, intellectual plane. However, the intimate gaze shifts. When attraction is present, the gaze tends to broaden to include the area around the chin, the neck, and sometimes the chest.
And it lasts longer.
Crucially, yes. The contact is sustained longer, often for more than 3 seconds at a time, before the eyes briefly look away and then quickly return. This sustained, broader focus communicates vulnerability and desire.
That's a powerful, tangible indicator to look for. And what about the unintentional signals, the physical betrayals we can't control? I'm thinking specifically about pupil dilation.
This is truly a secret transmission system. We're discussing pupil dilation, the involuntary widening of the pupils. This is controlled by the autonomic nervous system.
Meaning you absolutely cannot consciously influence it.
None whatsoever. It is an unconscious physical indicator that the viewer is interested in or attracted to the object they are observing.
But wait, are we saying that if I find someone attractive, my pupils dilate and they can see that and become attracted back? That sounds almost like science fiction.
It's subtle, but it's measurable.
How subtle are we talking?
Well, research suggests that human beings may subconsciously register and respond positively to another person's dilated pupils. In essence, the dilation of your pupil when you view an attractive person signals intense focus.
And that focused attention is attractive in itself.
Precisely. It can unwittingly induce reciprocal attraction in that partner. It's a primal nonverbal loop. The physiological response that displays attraction can actually induce it in the receiver.
So even if we are attempting to maintain total composure, our eyes are broadcasting our interest on a subconscious physiological level.
They're telling on you.
It's truly a biological confirmation of the spark.
And beyond the mutual exchange, even one-sided gaze is telling. Merely looking in the direction of someone for an extended period indicates positive valuation.
So if you catch them looking at you from across the room.
Exactly. If you catch your partner stealing quick glances across the room at you, especially when they think you haven't noticed, that sustained, focused gaze confirms that they find you pleasing and attractive. and that you occupy a significant portion of their attention.
That takes us smoothly from merely looking to managing physical space, the movement from the eyes to the body. Let's talk about proxemics and haptics.
How we handle distance and touch in the context of mutual attraction.
Yes.
Well, mutual attraction is heavily demonstrated by subtle, often unconscious actions people take to physically close the distance. Proximity is trust.
What does that look like in practice?
This could involve leaning in significantly during a conversation, sitting or standing closer than is generally acceptable in a casual social setting.
So breaking that personal space bubble a little bit?
Breaking it in a welcome way, yes. Or actively seeking and maintaining proximity in a crowded group. You'll just find you end next to each other a lot.
They are essentially drawing their physical orbit closer to yours. It's a behavioral indicator that they feel comfortable, drawn to, and safe in your personal space.
Exactly. When you are genuinely attracted, the space between you feels like a barrier you want to diminish. You'll find yourself naturally angling your body toward them.
Pointing your feet at them, that kind of thing.
Yes. And if you're standing in a group, you might unconsciously block others from approaching too closely, maintaining that intimate space just for the two of you.
And once that distance is closed, the casual touch has become loaded with massive meaning. Let's talk more about that lingering touch.
The lingering touch is a profoundly powerful, intimate cue that bypasses explicit conversation. It's all subtext.
So what are some common examples?
These often begin as accidental brushes. The hand on the arm to emphasize a point, the fingers brushing when reaching for the same drink, the knee contact under a table.
But they linger.
That's the key. They linger. They are deliberate, though subtle, ways to initiate and sustain physical connection, expressing affection without using explicit, vulnerable words.
That moment when you're standing near someone, their hand rests on your back for a second too long, or their arm slightly brushes yours and they don't retreat instantly. That pause, that slight pressure.
That's the definition of the lingering touch right there.
That pause is everything.
It is. It confirms comfort and desirability. And because it triggers that oxytocin release we discussed earlier, it keeps the moment replaying in your mind, creating that gentle rush and reinforcing the bond.
And speaking of reluctance, one of the most powerful, subtle signs of mutual attraction is the visible, almost physical hesitation to part ways.
The reluctance to say goodbye is universal. It often manifests as the farewell that takes 5 minutes and 3 extra movements.
The long goodbye.
The long goodbye. You've said goodbye, but then you remember one last story, or you linger on the doorstep talking about the weather, or perhaps you engage in an extended physical contact, like a prolonged hug that goes beyond the standard social duration.
We've all been in that slow motion goodbye. It's comforting to know that this isn't just awkwardness, it's genuine chemistry.
It's a subtle yet clear physical expression of the desire to delay disconnection and stay present. It shows that the person values the time spent so highly that the prospect of it ending activates a subtle resistance.
It signals, I wish this moment wasn't over.
Exactly that.
Now, let's look at general body language, which ties directly back to our mirror neurons, but also the visible signs of excitement and nervousness.
Absolutely. While we talked about the underlying mechanism of mirroring, observing the spontaneous, unconscious mimicking of gestures, posture, and energy is the observable sign.
It's the proof.
It's the proof. This is an undeniable, unconscious signal demonstrating deep engagement, rapport, and a subconscious effort to bond.
So if someone is truly attuned to your energy, you'll see it in their physical stance.
Yes. When you notice someone adopting your posture, matching your speaking tempo, or using similar hand gestures, it means they are not just listening. They are internally processing and aligning with your energy. They are subconsciously prioritizing connection over individual expression.
What about nervousness? We often see blushing, fidgeting, restless movements, or even brief eye contact avoidance, and we might misread that.
We might misread that as disinterest or avoidance, and that is a very common and critical mistake.
Especially if the person is shy.
Especially when the person is naturally shy or deeply invested in the interaction. Nervousness manifesting as fidgeting with clothing, restless shifts in posture, sudden blushing, or brief avoidance of eye contact followed by stealing quick glances.
That's all a good sign.
It's actually a key physical cue signaling intense emotional excitement and attraction.
It's the anxiety of caring so much that you are internally terrified you might mess up the impression you are making.
Precisely. They are trying desperately to appear composed and confident, but the internal emotional turbulence caused by the attraction is simply too powerful to contain. This is a sign that their emotional investment is high.
And related to that desire to make a good impression, there is often an intentional but subtle effort to manage one's appearance when expecting to see the person.
We call that intentional appearance management. It's the subtle effort to look extra nice or more put together than usual when anticipating an interaction.
Like wearing that shirt you complimented last week.
Exactly. They might wear a specific item you once complimented, or perhaps spend slightly longer ensuring they look confident and comfortable.
It's not necessarily about a grand gesture. It's about signaling that your opinion is highly valued.
It is. It creates a quiet excitement and confirms that the other person means something more than a casual acquaintance. It's a silent code exchanged, acknowledging the mutual desire to be positively seen by the other.
We've covered the biology, the neurochemistry, and the silent physical cues. Now let's elevate the conversation to the interactional realm. How does mutual attraction change the way we actually communicate and build intimacy?
This is where the emotional connection starts to formalize into a unique relationship dynamic. And shared humor is one of the quickest ways to build that bond.
It's so important.
It is. We often observe a subtle shift from light, playful teasing to explicit flirty banter.
That playful environment that makes you feel like you are the only two people who understand what's truly going on.
Right. This playful atmosphere and shared laughter are crucial bond strengtheners. Laughter releases endorphins, which reinforce positive memories linked to the other person, fostering a deep sense of togetherness.
So laughing together literally makes you like each other more.
It does. Studies indicate that couples who dedicate even 10 minutes a day to laughing together report significantly stronger relationship satisfaction.
And as that bond strengthens, you naturally start constructing your own unique universe of communication.
Often centered around exclusive language.
Inside jokes.
The formation of inside jokes and exclusive references that only the two of you understand is a powerful sign of deepening intimacy. This private language reinforces a special, exclusive relationship status.
It's a shared secret.
It is.
Yeah.
It's cementing a unique bond that affirms you have a relationship dynamic distinct from every other person in your lives. It's a beautiful, subtle way of declaring, we share something special only we get.
That feels like a massive emotional investment, creating a unique culture just for the two of you.
It is, because it solidifies the feeling of being chosen. You're not just a person they talk to, you are the co-author of their shared private narrative.
In terms of sheer communication, mutual interest must be reflected not just in the volume, but in the consistency of the conversation.
Absolutely. This is so important. Genuine mutual interest is marked by intensified, consistent communication. We look for frequent texting, calling, or messaging.
And crucially,
And crucially, this should be initiated by both parties. It demonstrates a strong reciprocal desire to stay connected and share the minutiae of their daily lives.
they work to keep the conversation flowing.
If you do, they are reluctant to let it drop off.
But the quality of that conversation is paramount. Anyone can text constantly, but is it meaningful? Is the attention real?
The quality is the gold standard that separates casual flirtation from true investment. A person who is genuinely interested will actively listen.
And what does actively listen really mean here?
It means they remember the small, often insignificant details about past conversations, your hobbies, your preferences. They show genuine curiosity by asking thoughtful follow-up questions that demonstrate detail retention.
You mean, if I mentioned last week that I was worried about a small work presentation and they check in on that presentation a few days later, that's the sign of investment.
Precisely. That's a huge sign. They are proving they are invested in your life and your experiences, not just entertained by your presence in the moment.
That's a powerful distinction.
Remembering the small stuff that others overlook is a profound indicator that their mind is actively processing and prioritizing information about you.
That's a strong, measurable test for authenticity. Now, if time flies when you're together and the conversation is meaningful, the logical next step is actively prioritizing that time.
Correct. We observe the behavior of actively seeking excuses to spend extra time together. This isn't just passively accepting an invitation.
It's being proactive.
It's initiating or engineering opportunities, whether through shared activities, working on mundane projects together, or simply extending a planned interaction by significant time increments.
Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Want to come?
Yes, every extra moment is treated as a meaningful chance to bond and deepen the connection.
They're essentially maneuvering their schedule and often their life to maintain proximity.
Yes, and that maneuvering often includes aligning worlds. Individuals will show genuine enthusiasm for the other person's interests, sometimes even taking up a new hobby or watching a niche show, just to create a bridge for shared experiences and common ground.
I've never seen that show, but I'll watch the first season by this weekend so we can talk about it.
That kind of effort speaks volumes, and the ultimate sign of intent, often, is the introduction to their inner sanctum.
Their friends and family.
Exactly. Introducing you to their social circle, their trusted friends, or their family is a monumental sign of serious intent. It signals a willingness to integrate you into their core life structure.
It means they see you sticking around.
It demonstrates they view you as a fixture, not a temporary distraction.
We've tracked this connection from the initial dopamine hit through the lingering touch, right up to inside jokes and prioritizing time. But as we move from the electric initial crush phase into a potential long-term relationship, what markers define the transition from fun spark to genuine lasting intent?
The primary indicator, above all else, is unwavering consistency.
Consistency.
We must stress this. Genuine, deepening interest is demonstrated by consistency in effort, attention, and communication, rather than random, sporadic flashes of affection or grand, occasional gestures.
So if they are amazing one week, then vanish for 3 days, then reappear with an elaborate date idea, that inconsistency is the red flag.
That inconsistency is the red flag, even if the grand gesture is impressive.
That's a hard one for people to accept sometimes.
It is. But real, deepening interest is predictable and unambiguous. Their actions must align clearly and consistently with their words. If you find yourself constantly guessing, making excuses for their lack of effort, or rationalizing inconsistent behavior,
The foundation is shaky.
the foundation is shaky, regardless of how intense the spark feels. Consistency breeds trust and security, which are essential for long-term health.
Once that consistency is established, what are the concrete actions that signal serious long-term commitment?
It involves actively including the person in long-term future plans. This means discussing abstract goals, life events, financial dreams, and explicitly envisioning and naming you as a permanent part of that journey.
So it moves beyond what are we doing this weekend?
To where do you see us living in 5 years?
That future pacing confirms that the person is viewing the relationship through the lens of longevity.
And critically, it involved prioritizing your needs and well-being, often above their momentary convenience. A person demonstrating true, healthy investment actively strives to communicate openly, follows through on promises, and places your emotional and physical security high on their priority list.
When we look at the emotional foundation of a healthy long-term connection, what are the key markers of genuine support and care?
True interest includes becoming a genuine, reliable cheerleader and caregiver. This means enthusiastically supporting the other person's aspirations, celebrating their successes as if they were their own.
Not being competitive with them.
Not at all, and showing concern for their well-being. This can even extend to gently scolding them if they neglect their self-care, like overworking or skipping meals.
That protective care.
Yeah.
Hey, have you eaten today? Text.
That text, it moves beyond mere affection into reliability, and that's essential. And as trust deepens, emotional availability increases exponentially, right?
It has to.
Deeper, lasting feelings are powerfully signaled when individuals begin to embrace vulnerability. They start sharing personal fears, past traumas, intimate uncertainties, and ambitious dreams.
Things they don't tell just anyone.
Exactly.
Yep.
It demonstrates profound trust and emotional availability in the relationship.
This is the moment when they are comfortable enough to shed the polished veneer of the crush phase and be their authentic self, flaws and all, without fear of judgment.
And this vulnerability is essential for building a robust emotional bond. It proves they trust you with their internal world, which is a deeper commitment than trusting you with their time.
Before we wrap up, we need to address the crucial reality check. Because the rush of attraction, the dopamine and euphoria, it can sometimes be blinding.
It can.
We must distinguish between falling for a partner's potential versus accepting their reality.
This is perhaps the most important realization for anyone listening to internalize. Falling for potential means focusing on the person they could become, the person you are trying to motivate or fix.
And in doing so,
You're often ignoring or rationalizing harmful patterns or constant inconsistency in their present actual behavior.
so if you are consistently making excuses for their lack of effort or perpetually waiting for the consistency or reliability that never arrives, you are essentially dating a fantasy version of them.
Not the person who is actually in front of you.
And that's a recipe for disaster.
And that cognitive bias, that focus on potential, inevitably leads to disappointment and resentment. A true, healthy, and lasting connection is built on accepting and appreciating the person as they are right now, flaws and all. The connection should add to your peace, not detract from it.
So, while the cues we discuss, the chemistry, the mirroring, the prioritizing of time are helpful guides, the ultimate reality check is internal.
Yes, the definitive indicator is the profound, sustained sense of comfort and peace you've experienced in their presence. You should feel consistently safe, secure, and understood.
When the dust settles,
When the euphoric intensity of the crush settles, what is left? A relationship built on reality and mutual respect provides the freedom to be your authentic self without anxiety or fear of judgment.
this has been an incredibly detailed look into the hidden layers of mutual attraction, starting from the subconscious chemical reactions right through to the intentional acts of prioritization and commitment.
We've seen that the secret language of close relationships is found in the powerful interplay of chemistry and consistent communication. From the release of oxytocin during lingering contact and the involuntary dilation of pupils, to the formation of exclusive inside jokes and the prioritizing of shared futures.
And understanding these cues really enhances emotional intelligence.
It enhances emotional intelligence and confidence, allowing you to move with intention.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening, trying to decode your own relationship or connection right now?
It means this. While the initial intense spark of chemistry is exciting and provides the necessary momentum, the truest indicator of a deep, lasting connection is whether that intensity eventually transforms into a consistent sense of profound safety and peace in the other person's presence.
That's the real test.
That's the real test. If your mutual attraction is consistently causing you more anxiety, uncertainty, and doubt than it is providing security, you must ask yourself, is the bond truly built on reality and mutual respect? Or is it destined to burn out when the 4-month dopamine rush ends?
A tough question.
A tough but necessary question. It's worth deep exploration because peace is the ultimate measure of true alignment.
A truly provocative and essential thought to end on. Thank you for diving deep with us today.